So, you might think you know the classic tale of Jane Eyre, right?
Right.
We often picture her as, well, the quiet, humble heroine, stoically enduring hardship.
Hmm.
But what if the very first pages of that iconic novel actually hint at something else? Maybe a fierce, rebellious spirit simmering just beneath the surface.
Yeah.
What if Jane Eyre was, from the very start, anything but meek?
It's true. It's actually incredibly easy to fall into that familiar perception.
Yeah.
But the deeper you dive, the more you realize that Charlotte Bronte, the author, was doing something really groundbreaking.
Uh-huh.
Not just with Jane's character, but with the innovative way she chose to tell her story.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging right into the core of Jane Eyre.
Hmm.
Specifically, we want to explore how Jane herself kind of shattered literary expectations.
Yes.
And also the fascinating ways Bronte speaks directly to you, the reader.
That direct address, yeah.
So our mission today is to extract those surprising insights that reveal Jane's revolutionary nature and the narrative brilliance that makes the novel just so enduring.
Absolutely.
We'll be looking closely at excerpts from our sources to uncover these nuggets of knowledge. Let's unpack this.
Okay, so when we first meet Jane, chapter 1, she absolutely seems to fit that classic mold.
Right, the poor orphan.
Exactly. The impoverished, put-upon fairy tale heroine. She's living with her cruel aunt, Mrs. Reed, and her cousins.
Oh, John Reed.
Oh, John Reed! He loses no time bullying her, basically saying, you are a dependent, you have no money, you ought to beg, and not to live here with gentlemen's children like us. You know the drill.
Yeah, laying it on thick. And Jane's initial reaction, or lack of reaction, really leans into that expectation, doesn't it?
It does.
The text describes her as having habitual obedience. It even says, accustomed to John Reed's abuse, I never had an idea of replying to it.
Right.
It almost feels like she's being set up just to be this quietly suffering figure.
That's the clever initial setup. But then, just a chapter later, boom, that mold completely shatters.
A red room.
Yes. As she's being dragged to the dreaded Red Room, the narration delivers this pivotal line. I resisted all the way. A new thing for me.
A new thing for me. Wow.
Yeah. This isn't just a physical struggle. It's a radical departure for a 19th century novel. It signals a totally new kind of female heroine.
So Jane just doesn't conform.
Fundamentally. Not to conventional female roles socially or, literarily.
And it's striking how immediate and instinctive her assertiveness becomes. Like when Mrs. Reed dismisses Jane as not worthy of notice, Jane doesn't just shrink away. She fires back instantly, crying out, suddenly and without at all deliberating on my words, they are not fit to associate with me.
Exactly. Without deliberating. That's key. It's pure instinct.
That is not a submissive reaction at all.
Not even close. And it continues. Later, when she confronts the formidable Mr. Brocklehurst.
Oh, him too.
Right. She declares, speak I must. I had been trodden on severely and must turn.
Speak I must.
This is a voice-giving expression to what was typically, silenced, marginalized, ignored female experience.
All those bad feelings.
Her bad feelings, her antagonistic energies, her fierce speaking. It's quite remarkable because, unlike other literary heroines of the time,
Right.
Jane's resistant voice isn't just movingly pitiable, like, say, Shakespeare's Cordelia.
Okay.
Nor is it winningly attractive or exemplarily moral, like Jane Austen's Emma Woodhouse or maybe Fanny Price.
No, she's different.
Jane Eyre truly stands apart.
And it's not just Jane's character that's revolutionary. It's the way Bronte tells her story.
Yes.
That unique narrative device, the frequent direct address to you, the reader, those reader eye moments.
Titanic.
They really are. And they've actually sparked quite a bit of discussion among literary scholars, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. There are several ways people read those.
Like what?
Well, for some, these moments show the author's awareness that the novel's subject matter was pretty unconventional for its time. So it's seen as an attempt to connect with the reader, maybe to assert a community, and definitely to appeal for your sympathy, kind of drawing you right into the story as a confidant.
Right. Like, hey, reader, you get this right. This is unusual.
Exactly. But then others interpret it differently.
How so?
They see these direct addresses as part of the novel's structure of growth, the idea of the Bildungsroman.
Ah, the coming-of-age story.
Precisely. They serve as a reminder that the narrator, the adult Jane looking back, is distinct from the experiencing Jane, the child living through it all.
I see. So it invites you, the reader, to share in that process of looking back and understanding.
It's a shared reflection.
But there's another angle too, right? About creating distance.
Yes, that's Karen Chase's argument, for instance. By reminding us so frequently of the act of storytelling itself,
Okay.
by pulling us away from the immediate events to acknowledge the reader-writer relationship, these addresses can also place us at one remove from the story.
Huh. So it highlights that it is a narrated tale.
Subtly, yes.
So it's weird. On one hand, it's inviting you in, being intimate.
Yeah.
But on the other, it's also reminding you that it's a story and creating a kind of distance. That's quite dynamic.
It really is. And the voice doing the addressing changes too. Jeanette King talks about this.
Yes.
Sometimes these addresses share a confidence or feeling that Jane is unable to express to any character in the novel.
Okay, so deep intimacy. Just between Jane and you.
Exactly. But other times, especially at moments of heightened emotion, they actually pull us back from the intense feeling of the past,
Right.
back to the present of the narrating Jane, drawing your attention again to that gap or connection between the child and the adult Jane.
Even when their experiences seem to be merging emotionally.
Precisely. It's a very clever way to explore an evolving self over time.
And it gets even more nuanced, doesn't it? This idea that the openness is also maybe a defensive strategy.
Yeah, that's another layer. Some critics point out Bronte's tendency towards inverted syntax, twisting the sentence structure around, and how the I, or sometimes stand-ins like reason or even just Jane Eyre, seems to emerge almost to mask a deeper, more vulnerable self.
So it's like a shield and an invitation all at once.
Kind of, yeah. It allows a certain inner truth to come out without being, perhaps, fully exposed or raw.
That's fascinating. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, these explicit acts of rebellion we talked about, they're actually foreshadowed right from the very beginning, aren't they?
They really are. The opening of Chapter 1 describes Mrs. Reed justifying her harsh treatment of Jane,
Right.
saying she has to exclude her because she isn't sociable and childlike.
So the novel immediately flags these Victorian ideals of girlhood,
Exactly.
ideals which Jane is basically destined to oppose.
Right. She isn't just parentless and subordinate. She's described as inferior in size and looks, a real discord in the Reed house.
A discord. I like that. And that defiance is there in the narration itself right from the start.
It is. Jane uses her ironic consciousness of Mrs. Reed's words. She reports them indirectly, not as dialogue. Ah.
And the syntax is, as you mentioned, unconventional. That very prominent me, as in me, she had dispensed from joining the group.
Right at the start of the sentence.
Yes. It's subtle, but it immediately positions her in this silently vengeful opposition to the family's whole attempt to just ignore her, to make her invisible.
Wow. What's truly fascinating here, though, is that even with these outward acts, so much of Jane's rebellion is hidden and inward.
Yes, absolutely. Her inner life is crucial.
The Red Room episode, for example. It's terrifying, but it's also a testament to the power of her imaginative life, isn't it?
Definitely. Even amidst the terror, her vivid imagination offers her both a retreat and a resource.
I remember that part, when she's reading Bewick's History of British Birds before all the drama starts, and finds herself singularly happy. The pictures, she says, told mysterious and strangely impressive stories.
It's that moment of internal escape. It highlights just how rich her inner world is, even as a child in that oppressive environment. And these images and her imaginative affinity with the natural world, plus that raw sense of justice.
Yes, that cry of unjust, unjust, at John Reed's cruelty.
It all seems to line up with romantic ideas, right? Rousseau, Wordsworth, Coleridge.
It certainly resonates. The Bildungsroman genre itself, that coming-of-age story structure, which Jane Eyre just perfectly embodies, is deeply connected to Wordsworth's idea that the child is the father of the man.
Right.
The whole Romantic period had this unprecedented interest in childhood as a really formative and psycho-emotionally rich stage of life.
So Jane seems very much a product of that romantic focus on childhood, on individual feeling.
She does, on one level.
But here's where it gets really interesting. You hinted at this. Jane doesn't perfectly fit that romantic paradigm either, does she?
No, she doesn't. That's the nuance. Her kind of individual expressiveness feels closer to a Byronic energy.
Ironic. Like Lord Byron.
Yeah.
Fierce, maybe a bit defiant.
Exactly. Think fiercely independent, pushing against constraints, maybe even excessive sometimes. It's not quite that gentle, purely nature-focused Wordsworthian ideal.
Okay.
And the first-person narration itself, subtly, perhaps sympathetically, acknowledges the sheer force of Jane's will. Her drive to win the field in what she calls the hardest battle I had fought and the first victory I had gained. There's an intensity there.
Okay, that makes sense. And this brings us to that incredibly visceral exchange with Mrs. Reed,
Yeah.
where Jane just defies her outright. Mrs. Reed asks, "How dare you affirm that, Jane Eyre?"
And Jane's response is just so blunt, so powerful. "How dare I, Mrs. Reed? How dare I? Because it is the truth."
Bam. Just lays it out there.
And this is where the novel truly immerses us, and you, the reader, in the raw feel of childhood experience. It's not just about the words.
What do you mean?
The text describes Jane's feeling of vengeance as something she had tasted for the first time.
Oh, right, that passage.
As aromatic wine it seemed on swallowing, warm and racy. Its after flavor, metallic and corroding, gave me a sensation as if I had been poisoned.
Wow. That's intense. It's not just moral righteousness.
Not at all. It's a raw, unsettling, almost physical sensation. Jane herself observes later that children can feel, but they cannot analyze their feelings.
Right.
Her angry words like, "The very thought of you makes me sick," combined with seeing Mrs. Reed actually look frightened. It's described almost like Jane is virtually swallowing both of her own cruelty and of Mrs. Reed's fear.
That's a powerful and, frankly, disturbing image. It really complicates things.
It does, and just seeing Jane as a straightforward romantic rebel kind of misses this disturbingly visceral quality and the equivocal status of her experience. It's not simple triumph.
And when she says things like, "when I am grown up," it pulls you back, reminds you she is still a child.
Exactly. It reminds you of her youth, but also highlights that distance between her child self and the adult understanding that's shaping the whole narrative.
The adult narrator looking back.
Precisely. The adult reflects, a child cannot quarrel with its elders without experiencing afterwards the pang of remorse and the chill of reaction.
So there's a cost to her defiance, even then.
Yes, and, it's thought that Charlotte Bronte's own practical experiences teaching and dealing with undisciplined children, that might have checked any tendency towards an overly idealized, maybe Rousseauan view of childhood innocence. She knew it was complicated.
This leads to what you call the novel's profound double consciousness.
That interplay between the child's immediate raw experience and the adult narrator's reflective insight.
But you said it's different from how Dickens does it in Great Expectations.
Yeah, I think so. In Dickens, that gap between child and adult awareness often feels like it's there to teach a clear moral lesson. The adult knows better. In Jane Eyre, it doesn't feel rigidly reproving or moral in the same way. The adult perspective feels more protective. Yeah, like it's amending the vulnerable and bewildered shortfall in the child's vision. It's looking back with understanding and compassion, not just judgment.
That's a really insightful way to put it. It's a deeply compassionate lens.
I think so. The adult Jane later reflects on her youthful turmoil. How all my brain was in tumult and all my heart in insurrection. Yet in what darkness, what dense ignorance was the mental battle fought?
She couldn't understand it then.
No. I could not answer the ceaseless inward question why I thus suffered. Now, at the distance of I will not say how many years, I see it clearly.
And what does she see clearly?
She gains clarity on her complete alienation back then, realizing I was like nobody there. I had nothing in harmony with Mrs. Reed or her children. A heterogeneous thing.
Yeah.
A useless thing. A noxious thing.
Wow. That's harsh. But it's her adult understanding of how she must have seen how she felt.
Exactly. It's that retrospective clarity.
And this is why this kind of deep dive is so relevant, isn't it? Not just for literary history buffs, but for anyone interested in, well, self-discovery, internal rebellion.
Absolutely.
You mentioned comparing Jane to Dickens's Jo from Bleak House.
Yeah, briefly. Jo represents a kind of native ignorance of injustice. He doesn't understand the systems that oppress him.
Okay.
Jane, on the other hand, provides this incredibly articulate female version of what that neglected, discordant condition feels like from the inside.
She feels it, she fights it, and later she analyzes it.
Precisely. She can vocalize the injustice she feels, act on it, and then reflect on it later with profound insight. It's the journey of an inner life, portrayed so vividly.
And that's why it continues to resonate so strongly today.
Without a doubt.
Okay, so let's recap. We've explored how Jane Eyre, the character, really defies easy categorization. From her immediate, almost instinctive acts of rebellion early on,
Right.
to the really complex narrative voice that Bronte uses, a voice that invites us, invites you right into her mind.
Yeah, that intimacy.
Yet also subtly highlights the distance of adult understanding, of time past.
That double consciousness, yeah.
What's really fascinating here is how the novel just immerses us in the raw, sometimes messy truth of childhood emotion.
The feel of it.
The feel of it, exactly.
Yeah.
And then allows for the wisdom that comes with looking back. Retrospection.
Indeed. I think the brilliance really lies in that interplay between the visceral experience and the mature reflection. It makes Jane's journey feel so timeless.
So, final thought then. What does this all mean for us listening today? Well, maybe Jane Eyre in her defiant spirit and the unique way her story is told. Maybe she reminds us that true understanding of ourselves often requires both things.
Both things.
Yeah, both the raw in-the-moment experience and the clarifying lens of time, of reflection.
That makes sense. The feeling and the analysis.
Right. So here's something to think about. How might reflecting on your own past experiences, but with the perspective you have now, reveal a similar kind of double consciousness at play in your own life?